Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Wednesday night. It's Xbox Nation. We're gonna have a really good show for you tonight. I've got a first timer as well joining us tonight. I'm very excited about. Um, Hopefully, you guys are all having a great day. We start off with a little bit of a sad note. Kind of want to discuss this just real quick. A member in the Xbox community passed away. Goes by the name of Xbox Addict on Twitter. He was a huge Xbox fan. Had a great collection. He was just a huge gamer in general. His name was Matt. He was a war veteran. He was a Marine. He was in a car crash and lost use of his legs. And he used gaming as a way to kind of push forward and stuff like that. And he passed away unexpectedly yesterday. So a lot of people on Twitter, including Phil Spencer, changed their avatars on Twitter to reflect Xbox Addict's name. So we just want to wish his family well and everything like that, and just offer our condolences and things like that. So it's nice to see the community come together and kind of do that. Mooch, I know you were good friends with him because you had him on the podcast before. Is there anything you want to say?
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, Addict. Reading that last night when I got it was hard because he was on Crossfire multiple times.
Yes.
And you know, there's something about Matt that a lot of people got to understand. I'll tell you a little bit about myself with him. Like he only spoke in like positive vibes, and you know, every time he would give me some sort of a pep rally, we DM'd each other quite often. He would always mention gaming and the community and sticking together. And you know, you stop and you think about what he's been through and the situation in his life. And this is a person only putting out positive vibes. Matt touched a lot of people in this community in a positive way. You're seeing all kinds of developers. You are seeing the executives at Microsoft. You're seeing people that are even quoting, saying, I've never really actually talked to him, but just seeing the amount of footage that he put out, seeing his room as he did a panorama around to see his collectibles. Maybe it's because the kid inside of me playing games growing up, that's a room that looked like the most fun to ever have a neighbor ever in your life. He had everything that every kid would ever want, every adult kid would ever want. And when he would do that once a week, I mean, he did that often. And anyone who's been following him as long as I have, even at night, he used to be like, "Good night, Xbox community." And he would actually show the Xbox Live neon light he had, and then he would just kind of like shut it off, almost like when a bar's closing down. And I'm still going back looking for that because he hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be long-winded here, but to be honest with you, I just want to say thanks to everybody in the community for respecting him, honoring him. He's a military vet. He put his time in with our country, and he's a family man first and foremost.
Yeah.
So I just want to let his family know that you know, as far as coming from Mooch on Xbox Live and all these podcasts, that he's sorely missed. I'm going to miss him personally, and we'll be doing a few tributes for Matthew this week.
Yeah, there's something we're cooking up for M&C mornings. Anybody else want to say anything? Did you guys have any interactions with him? You know, he was a really good guy, man.
Well, first I want to say well said, Mooch. That was amazing. And yeah, like he was one of the first people I talked to in the community, actually, back when I got my Xbox and I started listening to all these podcasts, and especially you guys. So when I did the Twitter, and I was like, oh, let me add Crapgamer and a whole bunch of other people to just talk about my favorite thing, which is Xbox and gaming. He was one of those first people. So he always talked to me. We talked about collectibles and everything because he was a collector. Yeah, we just went back and forth overall. And something he always used to put at the end of the tweets that we used to go back and forth. He used to say, bleed green. So, yeah.
Yeah. And he did. I mean, he had like so much stuff. That guy, man, he had like every controller ever. Like I used to just be like in awe when he'd show off those controllers and things like that. So
yeah, a lot of those collectibles and stuff too were stuff that you had to get, you know, basically by being a hardcore fan. A lot of it was FanFest and
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
A
definitely.
lot of that stuff was all, or special stuff that you had to get, directly from Microsoft or whatever the case may be. A lot of that stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy seemed like a nice guy. I always entered his giveaways, but I never won anything. But I never won anything on Twitter anyway. So.
Not true. You won City Skylines.
Oh yeah, I did win City Skyline.
I just have to put my input here. It's weird because I didn't know the guy too well, but I'm just getting choked up, like listening to people and hearing the emotions behind it. It makes me feel good to be part of the community. First of all, I think the Xbox community is second to none. I tweeted about it. I said, we're friends and almost family to a certain extent because we all are passionate about gaming. We're gamers. It's a big part of our lives. It's a big part of my life. He talked about gaming getting him through some hard times and, bringing him happiness. And that's truly the same thing for me, so even though I didn't know the dude, it's crazy to see all these people that, across the world just come together, and, show respect and remember the positivity that he brought, with his life. So I think that's cool, man. I think that if anything that we could take away from it, it's just, live life to the fullest. You never know. What day is going to be your last, and try to make a positive impact, and enjoy gaming. So, and
he was a really cool dude, and he's immortalized in Sea of Thieves, believe it or not. Him and Tommy Xbox Pope, they both are on like an Easter egg in that game. You can own that book, which I think is so awesome. And such a cool thing because he was such a big part of that, and I saw a lot of his tweets being retweeted today, and it just kind of makes you just extremely grateful and sad because we knew him and the community came together. And here's this guy that a lot of people some people knew him in person, like Tim and Downer and those guys, and even Aaron Greenberg and Phil knew him because he's been to E3, but so many didn't and still paid respect for the guy and just realized that he was a positive influence. And that's always, I think, the most important thing when it comes to gaming. So rest in peace, Matt, and you'll be missed for sure in the community and things like that. So I wanted to get that out of the way, and then we can kind of jump into like the topics and stuff. But also, let me introduce everybody. We got Mooch. He's here.
Hey now, WNBC. What's up, buddy? No, listen, today's definitely, it's sometimes when something like that happens, it was great to see the community come together. And I think Salty said it a second ago, like, we come together, all of us, because of gaming, and maybe gaming sometimes can take our mind off of real life struggles and events. So it is good to get back into some gaming talk, and I think it'll help everybody. And I think it's what Matt would have wanted. So no, I'm very excited to get into our subjects tonight. And yeah, buddy, you hit the topic, and I've always got too much to say about it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And you got to make some kind of reference to food too in there.
Naturally, yes. And I'm actually very hungry, so yes.
We've got Hellhammer. What's up, bro?
Not too much. Just been getting some gaming in these past few days. Haven't really been able to game too much. So
yeah, you're not into gaming.
Oh man, when you work all the time, you don't have much to game besides like a few hours here or there.
Yeah, I hear you. And making her return is Lady Foxfire. Welcome to the show.
Hi, what's up? Didn't expect that emotional intro, but it was awesome. And but I just want to say thank you for inviting me. Always. Anyway, you always like, hey, the door's open, and I'm like, I can't. I'm out.
Yeah.
But I always love being on here and chatting with you guys. Joking around is really fun. What else? Oh yeah, and also I heard that you wanted to interview me, for Super Lucky's Tale when it comes out. Part 2.
Super Lucky's Tale.
Yeah.
I know Super Lucky's Tale. No, I actually like Super Lucky's Tale. So
yeah, I'm doing all the mocap for that. So you said you wanted to talk to me about that.
It fills a certain niche in that Xbox library of games for sure, man. I definitely do. So
yeah, the cuteness.
Yes.
AKA me. So you're welcome, people. You're welcome.
Super Lucky's Tale. Yes. And making his debut on the show, Saltiest Gaming, man. Good to have you on the show. Welcome, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited for the topics. I got my Red Bull in hand. It's giving me wings. Let's go.
Hey, Alan Savage,
Cheers.
thanks for the donation. I know this isn't Mooch's show, so I'm kind of surprised that I got something. But I appreciate it, man.
He's a Mooch maniac, but he loves you, crap. He loves you.
He does, man. Absolutely. Alan's actually, he's a new Patreon supporter too. So
Very nice. Thank you,
yes,
Alan.
We do
Secretly,
have that.
he's a crapaholic.
WM and
He could be a crapaholic. You
Yes.
never know. Those people are they're all around.
It takes a while for us to come out. What do you mean? How dare you? Don't let him talk to me like that, Krabby.
However, watch your mouth there. Let's see. Okay, you know what? We might as well start here. And this was something that I didn't even put in there, but Call of Duty Black Ops 4 reportedly has no campaign.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
They basically want to make sure that I don't buy this game at all.
Yes,
at all this year. Like this is gonna be the actual year where I actually say that I'm not buying Call of Duty and I don't actually buy it. Like this is gonna be the first time, because not only is it Black Ops 4, which Black Ops 3 was awful.
Trash.
Yeah, like the worst game I've ever played. Like,
well,
ever.
I got news for this. Maybe my shortest Xbox Nation of all time, because I feel completely different than everybody. So
Who doesn't play campaign? So he's like,
I don't play campaign on Call of Duty. The first one I've ever really played was this last one. Don't get me wrong, it was good. Was it great? No, it was good. And the other thing we all complain about most in Call of Duty is I play so much multiplayer and I don't get any. Fill in the blank, folks. We all say it a million times. Achievements. So now you are going to get achievements. But now you're going to get achievements for what you actually play all year.
Is that the achievements for multiplayer stuff is stupid, because you have so many people that are trying just to boost that crap in there. That's why they avoided putting achievements in the multiplayer for so long.
Hellhammer, normally that would make a great point. However, let me debunk you with the fact that you have to play for 75 hours and kill a guy with a pistol you don't want to use just to turn the damn pistol diamond. Okay, look, there's already a bunch of dumb things in the game. If they're now going to make it so that I have to do the dumb things, I can get 100 achievement points. I'll take it. Look, the whole thing about it is this. I understand this has been generation after generation, year after year of follow Captain Mooch, move left. Oh, no, you didn't see the guy hiding in the bush. Boom, 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 boom. And then a history quote, and then start over again. Listen, we don't need it, folks. We've been doing it for a long time. If you want to play Follow the Leader, there's other games out there. The multiplayer is where this thing is focused, and they know that. So ultimately, I'm okay with this.
Here's the thing, though. I've bought every single Call of Duty game. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Every single one. All of them. I always play the campaign first, and then you get a good feel for the weapons and things like that, and then you kind of jump into the multiplayer, because you get a good amount of achievements through the single player, and I like it. It's like a Michael Bay movie, right? You get that 4 or 5 hour campaign. It's like this big scripted events and stuff. I love that, right?
And it's not even just that, right? Like for me, like for instance, like Call of Duty 4, which is like one of the first after like Quake and stuff like that, but the first console shooter that I got really into. Like for me, that there was the campaign on that game that drew me in to, liking the game. It had the realistic weapons. It had the cool set pieces, and you got to see the levels before basically you got to play it, because you played all the levels in the campaign.
The story, we always say, hey, I don't mind a game if it's linear. This game wasn't linear. This game was etch-a-sketch, okay? This thing only did straight lines. It was so straightforward. You remember the last one, World War II, when you were in the tanks in the city there? I can't remember if you were in Germany or where you were. And you're going through, if the tank happened to hit just a little bit of rubble on the side, your tank was like, you couldn't even move. And then all of a sudden, 3 tanks come up behind you and you're dead. And it's like, oh, history quote. Okay, we'll move on. And it's like, all right, and they didn't do the quotes this time. But nonetheless,
the problem is, Mooch, is that they're still going to charge you $60 for this.
Yeah, and they're taking away something from your game.
Yeah, and they're still going to charge you for the map packs.
Well, do we know it's $60 or we're assuming?
Well, it'll be $60. You better believe it.
It's the AAA game, of course.
So it's Activision and it's Call of Duty.
Destiny is $60, and that's an online only game.
The thing that I question is this game had 3 years development time, and they've got multiple studios working on it. How do you not?
Well, let me give you my answer, and then I know Saltiest wants to chime in as well. Listen, here's my thing. The reason you're still probably going to pay the $60, and the reason to answer your question, Crap, is I think everybody caught buzz of this battle royale thing. Okay, it caught 12 months ago. Everybody's been on fire about it. They probably turned around and said, "Hey guys, you have to put a Call of Duty battle royale into this, because we know Battlefield's doing it. We know everyone's doing it. We need to do that. We're the big guns here. Okay, we're the 800-pound gorilla in the room." And they probably turned around and said, "Listen, we're still working on the campaign. Okay, scrap the campaign and put the battle royale in there," because that's what it was. So to answer your question, you're probably saying, why is it after 3 years? I think they did 1.5 years, 2 years of work. They got rid of the campaign, or it's not going to listen. What I'm seeing from some of the likes of Kotaku and all them that are putting these quotes out there is you're saying you're not getting your traditional single player. So maybe you're still going to get something, but not the traditional single player you're used to. So you'll get what they've had up until they stopped to put their team on the battle royale.
Well, supposedly, just to point this out there,
Yeah.
they weren't going to finish it in time, so they had them scrap it. But Raven Software was the one doing the battle royale mode or whatever. So it's not even Treyarch. So Treyarch, I guess they're just did multiplayer and zombies when they saw that they weren't going to be able to hit their what they needed to do for the single player campaign. They're like, okay, we'll double down on zombies and the multiplayer stuff. So
yeah, I want to piggyback off that. I'm a first person shooter guy. I always have been. I never have really been drawn to the Call of Duty campaigns like most, but I can see where people are getting upset that it's not going to be in there. I think that we don't, you just have to look to Overwatch as a model for, Activision and Blizzard. That game came out multiplayer only, made a ton of money, and it's still active with its player base. I think Activision sees COD as a multiplayer focused game, and they're seeing, games like Fortnite and PUBG that are multiplayer, not very complex games making tons of money. So then they'll come out with this excuse that the single player wasn't ready, or even if it's if they get the single player out, they might follow the model of Overwatch where they do PvE events or PvP events and add some little campaign there. But the zombies is so huge for that game. It's exploded, right? In the beginning, what was it? It was just Treyarch doing zombies.
Yeah, they were the ones that did it. And then then they started it. Yeah.
And World at War.
Yep. And that was fun, like I like those ones, but I don't like all the different ones like that. For me, I enjoyed a couple of the zombies modes on a couple different ones. I think Black Ops 1, the one where George Romero was in it.
Yeah.
Call of the Dead. Yes,
Hell
that was the best one for me. I put so much time into that one. I like the campaigns. And what the weird part is, the voice actor was the one that confirmed that this is going to be the game earlier, like a year ago or something.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's no campaign, that's weird to me. You're getting less content for the same price, and supposedly that's why they're doing the Modern Warfare 2 remaster. So I mean, they're like, here's a
story
half a
only.
game. Yeah,
the heck is this?
Here's half a game and half a game.
Yeah, here's a half a game and a half a game. Yeah, so that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Maybe they'll package it together, but that seems really like a rush job to me.
That sounds like sounds kind of booty actually.
Yeah,
and I've had my love and hate thing with COD forever. Obviously, my first love was Call of Duty 4, then Modern Warfare 2. This is still my favorite, and I loved both the campaign and the multiplayer. More of the multiplayer because that's where I spend a lot of time on. And even though I tried other things, I always went back to those multiplayers. And every other COD after that, I guess Black Ops, I liked both as well, but not as much. And then everything was just multiplayer here, multiplayer there, and then I just stopped playing Call of Duty altogether. Yeah. And I just got back into COD this last November.
Yeah, with World War II.
With World War II, and I've been playing nothing but multiplayer. And everybody tells me the campaign is good, and I started it, but I've just never I never cared to finish it because I'm all about the multiplayer again. So I don't know how to feel about what they're doing with these changes. It doesn't sound good, but I don't know because I'd rather wait and see.
Some
when
people
it comes
won't
out.
care, but I mean, if you look, go ahead. Homer.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether or not you're like, oh, I love the campaign, or I never played it, or you're one of those people who just like, like the people that me and Crapgamer play with, like who never played them, right? Like it doesn't matter. It's still less content that you're getting for your $60.
Yeah, but if people want to say that they're adding the Battle Royale, if they want to say that that's the bonus and then it's going to be better or it's going to have more maps than PUBG and everything, even then, I don't care for that personally because I don't care for Battle Royale games. So I don't want that anyway.
It's like the flavor of the month, and it's like that's not going to make me want to play that anymore, to be honest with you.
I told y'all this before, right? Like I liked like PUBG, I like that game, but it's still, as I said before that game even came out on Xbox, that's the flavor of the month type thing. That stuff, the Battle Royale stuff's going to be real popular probably towards the end of the year, middle of next year. It's going to be popular for quite a bit of time, but it's going to die out because the same thing happened on PC 3 years ago. It was super popular, then it died, like for the most part.
I don't see how Battle Royale will work with COD. If you notice all the popular Battle Royale genres, they're all like third person, or you have an option to go first person. Yeah. COD is traditionally played on a smaller map and you're first person only. Like, how do they make this work? It's curious to me. Will they
They did-
include like
they
a
did
third person?
third person
mode?
one
I don't
time.
know. Oh, really?
They did, yeah, on Modern Warfare 2, there was a mode as third person mode, and that was crazy. It was really weird.
Boom, boom,
I didn't
kaboom! Boom, boom's in the room.
No chills.
No,
What's up?
chills, dude.
What's up? What's
Come
up,
on,
Nuke
people.
Nukem?
Just
Hey,
getting
bro.
off work, man.
Hey,
So-
welcome, man. Better late than no noof at all. That's what I say, man. I know you got some strong opinions, man. How do you feel about no campaign in Call of Duty?
I'm glad I gave my opinion before Noof got here.
Yeah,
Two
noof.
fingers. Well up, Activision. You're not gonna this time.
No, chills.
I ain't buying it, man. Like, I mean, it was hard pressed just to buy the last Call of Duty campaign, and I mostly bought it because I was excited to return to World War II. At least it was boots on the ground, and the multiplayer turned out to be solid. But the fact there is no campaign, I mean, primarily I've always bought in Call of Duty games for the campaign, and the multiplayer was an added bonus. So now you're just going to cater to that particular market. I'm not excited about it. If that's what they're going to do, and you know what, I wouldn't put it past Activision to basically sell us the game full price and then like 2 or 3 months later try to sell us some offset campaign because they're dirty like that.
Hey, I was actually going to say the same thing as that they're going to try to sell a campaign to us later on.
Oh man, sad but true, guys. Sad but
Here's a
true.
campaign. Yeah, like I can see that. Like for me, like I said, I bought
Buy
every
the season pass and get the campaign.
Exactly.
like 6 months later when they finish it. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that too much personally. I think
I mean, look, the fact that the no campaign and the fact that it's Black Ops again after Black Ops 3, like, do you really want to play after that Black Ops 3 game?
Do you know
Like,
what I
do you
noticed
want
in
to
the
play
game?
Black Ops 4 after that? Because that just doesn't sound appealing at all to me. I'd rather go play literally any other game.
yeah.
Here's another thing I noticed, and this is sort of related, but I just thought I'd bring it up. I was in Walmart the other day, and I'm walking by the like sort of like the budget shelf. You know, they have these pillar shelves in the middle of the aisle with all the games. And I'm walking by, and I looked down, and I saw Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And it had the Xbox One case, you know, the dark green case. And I'm looking at it going, holy shit, well, they finally dropped the remaster version, right? Nope. Apparently, they had it done up on an Xbox One case.
Yeah.
And they're selling it. And it looks just like you're buying the remaster, only there's a little circle on the case that says plays on 360 and on Xbox One, but then says it's the regular version. So, like, how many people are going to get duped and buy that thinking it's the remaster for $30 Canadian?
That's actually a good point, right? Because they've been doing that with a lot of games now. Actually, a lot of the backwards compatible games now. I've only noticed that. I've noticed that both Walmart and Target, not so much anywhere else.
Like Fallout 3 and stuff like that.
Fallout
I know.
3,
I saw Red Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption.
That game's super expensive.
Yeah, those games all have they all come in a case now that looks like an Xbox One case, but then also has the 360 logo on there as well.
See, what I try to do when we're talking about the subject, and you have to be careful because I understand that you can sit there and very easily say with no single player you're losing out as a consumer, but you have to look at the bird's eye view from the top. I've heard more from even hardcore gamers that when they play the single player campaign, that it was mediocre at best for most. Yes, you have a couple that are you're like, no, this one was my favorite, or no, that one was my favorite. But I remember like Black Ops 3 story. And I'm semi-quoting crap. He was like, I don't even know what the hell was going on halfway through it.
We actually just played, me and Helmer played it just to beat it.
Right.
Most of the time you had no idea. It was just weird. And that was the first bad one.
That was the first bad one, but there was a lot of just blah ones.
I don't know, man. Like I said, they're like Michael Bay movies.
But think about this. Let's get back to your dollars, right? Let's try to make a little bit of sense out of this. What you have is a situation where if you end up getting, these are ifs, we don't know what they're going to do. If you get a battle royale that is up to snuff with the rest that's out there, okay, because it's going to be a plethora. There's a lot of people in the chat being like, I'm already done with battle royale. Guys, don't say that right now. We're still at the beginning part of 2018. 2018 is going to be smothered with battle royale.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be 2018's flavor. Now, depending on how they do on
battle
sales
royale for your battle royale,
right? It's to see which one of these makes it out alive.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, you're going to get that. You're going to end up getting whatever you're going to get there as far as the whole crap, whatever it is there, the zombies thing and all that good stuff. And realistically, guys, as far as gamers go, you guys do kind of care about your trophies and your achievements. My point being here is that when you ultimately play Call of Duty over and over and over and over, after the first week and a half, 2 weeks, I'll even go as far as 3 weeks after it comes out, You're really just playing the multiplayer. And the fact of the matter is, the biggest complaint, if you stop and think about all the things you've ever complained about with Call of Duty, besides the fact that you get bent over the coals with the whole map packs and this and that and everything else pisses you off, the real pissed off thing is that we don't get achievements when we're playing the multiplayer. And now they're going to have to move that over to the multiplayer. So
I get that, but the problem
it's a big deal.
It is the newer Call of Duties. They just aren't compelling enough to make me want to play them online to begin with. So the only redeeming factor for me personally was playing through a campaign and picking up 500 easy achievements.
Yeah, and then having the online portions to say, hey, if somebody wants to hop on, hey, you want to look at this?
I don't like to be forced to go against a bunch of assets just to gain some achievements. Like, no, thank you. You know what I mean? I'd rather get them in the campaign of my own luxury. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think a lot of the
convenient thing is you're going to have 75 other games to do that this fall. You know what I mean? Like that's not necessarily what Call of Duty's really, what its essence is the multiplayer. I've always wondered why, forget the whole campaign thing for a second. I don't know why they've always neglected achievements and trophies on the multiplayer. I've always thought it should have been 50.
Because people boost.
They answered it. It was because people boost and it ruins people's experiences, right? Because you're playing online, right? And then you end up with a couple asshats who are just sitting there trying to get an achievement throughout the whole map.
But there's a reason why they've added a few, because I don't know if you guys have the ones that they've added to this last Call of Duty.
Yeah, like
but it's just for going prestige.
Yeah.
So they keep it simple when they do add certain things, and I think there's another one for something else, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, like when it comes to certain like specific, like use this gun in this map. Yeah, you're right. People are just gonna do the achievement instead of actually playing the game.
Yeah, and also just to kind of lump into this topic, Battlefield 5 supposedly is gonna have Battle Royale mode too.
Dude, we might as well just fucking say every game that's coming out next year is gonna have that's multiplayer. It's gonna have a battle royale.
Well, the question then is, but is Battlefield gonna end up having a campaign? That's the question.
Yeah, look, if Battlefield has a campaign, they're gonna pick up a lot of people that were playing Call of Duty.
Okay, I want to say something real quick, because usually, and this is weird for me to say, but okay, I love Battlefield. But their campaigns are usually shit next to COD's campaigns, believe it or not.
True. And listen, if everyone's in,
and I'm going to exclude. Well, I'm going to exclude Bad Company. Those two are amazing, so don't touch those.
I like Battlefield Bad Company 2's campaign a lot.
Yeah,
the first one wasn't as great, but the second one was really good.
Both of those are really good, but other than that, they're all shit.
Yeah, hey, I like the World War I one. I thought that was okay.
Battlefield Hardline, actually, that campaign was kind of neat.
Yeah, I played through that one and beat it. I thought it was okay. Yeah, Foxy's like, it's okay.
They're all multiplayer focused games, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely gonna be a bunch of people out of 100 that are gonna disagree with the comment, and that's fine. You have a right to say that. But ultimately, the majority of people that are playing those games are playing it for the multiplayer. So yeah. I mean, I think that when they cut that out, they figure they're really not going to hurt. They're not going to hurt their sales on it, because they've got it. It can't be the only bigwig to not have a battle royale. No. And to be honest with you, I don't think as many people played the campaign. Me and Crap had a debate on this a long time ago, and boy, we really got into it. And I said, listen, man, I'm telling you, I don't play them, and I've played every Call of Duty. I just didn't play them. I
know some people like you, like Grave. He doesn't play them either. But at the same time, a lot of people I do know play them. And the main problem is, like I said, it's taking away stuff and then charging you the same amount.
Right.
And one of the biggest complaints about Titanfall 1 and Star Wars Battlefront 1 was what? No campaign.
Lack of campaign. Yep.
No campaign. Story. Yeah. And so they had to rectify those things. And then, of course, there was other reasons why those games kind of tanked a bit. But I thought both really good games. I mean,
honestly, the campaign kind of ties in for me, even with the online part, right? It gives you kind of a background to, like, why the two factions are battling. And
yeah, like when you play Titanfall 1, you had these people talking in your visor about something.
And I'm like, what the fuck? What are they
I would love to know what's exactly going on here. What's up with these
they basically could be reading random lines from random sci-fi movies, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Here's what I don't get as well. I mean, they have 3 different studios making Call of Duty games. They've all each been amply given about 3 years on average to come up with the game and the campaign. So what the hell happened with this one? Like, where did this fall along the wayside?
That's what I'm saying.
They must have made that choice, like, literally out of the gate to say, we're not going to do the campaign, because I don't see them going halfway along and going, fuck it, let's just scrap the idea. So somebody, like, when they hit the drawing board, said, hey, maybe we don't need a campaign at all. Look at other games that are selling really well and don't have a campaign, aka PUBG, et cetera, and maybe they're trying to, get in on that action, cut their costs in half. So to basically it's just Activision being seedy as fuck again, which doesn't surprise me because they're good at it. And selling a large conglomerate of their fans short, because really that's what it is. I know that, like Mooch said, that look, people buy for the campaign, but they stay for the multiplayer. It's just like Grand Theft Auto. Nobody goes out and buys a Grand Theft Auto game for that half-assed multiplayer mode they got in it. Mind you, it's selling really well, but people buy it for the campaign. Like, and Call of Duty has always been set, and they've always had strong campaigns. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you might play it once or twice, but they're vital to the integrity of that franchise.
Yeah, I want to point out that you guys, the last COD, they had the loot boxes and loot crates you can open up in front of everybody and get your guy all customized. You don't think that they want to do that with this battle royale mode? It's
definitely
just the proof's in the pudding with Activision. Yeah. They saw this thing explode with PUBG and Fortnite especially. I mean, and they're like, hey, let's because they have a 3-year development cycle, and no other Call of Duty has needed to scrap their campaign, so or delay it, that it was unfinished. So the proof's in the pudding. Hey, let's get this PUBG type mode out, this battle royale mode out. We'll be able to get more microtransactions. We'll get more loot boxes out there, and we'll still sell our product. They have their analysts out there. They know they're still going to make money.
Yeah, you're right. They want some of that action. Definitely, they see the popularity. They see everybody streaming it every day. It's actually kind of crazy, in my opinion. I'm like, wow, really? What are you guys seeing that? I'm still questioning it.
Everything's gonna have a battle royale mode. Red Dead battle royale.
Battle royale, everything. That's the
can you take it in the bum?
Well, you know what,
Activision, and we are number one.
Look, I'm telling you, it's gonna be next year or this upcoming year is gonna be insane with the amount of battle royales that we get.
Everything's gonna have it, man. Everything.
But I would like to say that if every game's gonna have this thing, whatever, that some of us in the community or some people in the community really like, I don't want that to affect my multiplayer experience. I still want to have a good time in team. I still want to have a good time if I play Battlefield, what's it called, Conquest. Like, I still want those game modes to be good, and I don't want the battle royale to affect them.
They're focusing on the battle royale because that's the end thing. That's what's gonna sell them the game.
Well, I'm gonna sell that the same day I bought it. Back to GameStop. That's all I'm saying.
And then GameStop will give you $25 back.
Yeah, they're like, and then they're gonna sell it for $54.99. So,
well, $57.99 if you're not an Elite Extreme Pro member.
Yeah,
Extra Elite Ultra.
Yeah. Hey, you want that? You want the that magazine again? I guess. Okay.
Oh,
no, they have a higher version of that membership now. They always try to sell it to me every time I go in there.
I don't really ever go in there anymore. So
I only go down,
hey, Mooch, what do you think about this? Phil congratulates everyone on everything.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you had a birthday. Congratulations. Hey, Sony just beat us another month in NPD. Congrats, guys. God of War is great. Congratulations. Let's let all the outlets say Phil Spencer congratulates God of War and get more advertising for this game.
Well, we talked about this. I actually, on a top level, I have no issue if that's Phil's stance and he's the chief executive, of Xbox. If he's going to go ahead and make that his policy, that's fine. The problem I have with the congratulation tweets is we don't need to see it from everybody from Phil to Ibarra to Larry Herb to Aaron to the janitor. We got all kinds. We got the parking attendant at Microsoft being like, hey, I want to say congratulations to Sony because if it wasn't, I just love your work. Who are you and what do you do? I don't understand, right? And what does he do? I don't understand why this is the consensus at Redmond. And
I don't understand because I've worked at many large companies, right? Like Fortune 500s. And they're like, even on a personal thing, like not people not knowing you or whatever, like personally posting something like that could be construed as being against the company you work for or whatever. Like or for a competitor, like could be like always like a real issue.
Yeah. Imagine Burger King coming out on Twitter and be like, Hey, McDonald's, congratulations on the release of your new hamburger. Can't wait to try it. Doesn't make sense, right? It'd be weird, right?
No, I mean, even the good sportsmanship you see at the end of like we've all watched the Super Bowl. Even if you hate sports, you've watched a Super Bowl. And when you watch the end, when they're sports, but when you watch the end of it and they're shaking hands, I mean, one person wants to go last Boy Scout. You know what I mean? There's nobody that wants to have anything to do with these other guys shaking, but they shake hands, they move on, but it's begrudgingly. But that's a different sport. Here in business, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And to use exactly what the Burger King didn't do a tweet and congratulate McDonald's on the McArch Deluxe. They didn't do it. Nobody does it. It doesn't happen. So I don't get why, and I still don't understand why Phil needs to do that. He doesn't need to do that. If they both want to shake, I do think Sony did a congratulations to Xbox with the release of the Xbox, you know what I mean? The hardware, like that's a lot of work,
things,
right? The trials and tribulations that both sides go, but nobody does that on a regular basis. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think we can recall Steve Jobs ever congratulating Android on anything, right?
No, never.
The excuse is that they're gamers and stuff like that, but at the same time, like in a public perception, the executive titles I think come first over the personal titles. Like if they wanted to do a personal account, they could, but I understand they're gamers and stuff, but it's kind of weird to me.
It is weird.
What I want to say on the subject is this: it comes at a particular time when they have to know that Xbox fans are like seeing all these highly rated games, right? Like this God of War game, I'm hoping it's going to be great. I have it pre-ordered. It's coming Friday.
It's going to be the greatest game of the year.
People saying that it is going to be. And I hope it is. You know what? I hope it is.
Hammer.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I'm actually being serious. I think it's going to be the game of the year. I mean, honestly.
So yeah, like what is it? It's like a 96 Metacritic. So once in a while, you get a game of that caliber, and so to be that caliber, and Xbox fans see that, and you have this contingent of at least vocal minority online and stuff really want a game like that, and then you have Phil going, "Hey, yeah, congrats." And here's the thing. Xbox fans should not hope that this game does poorly. The better that these single-player games do, the better and more chance that Phil Spencer will have to go out and invest in a game like this.
As long as Microsoft doesn't blunder it, because far...
Well, exactly. Well, here's the thing, right? I heard, and we all heard this.
Sounded like a pun.
There's different grapevines and things, and there's different rumors. Like, Phil was totally against doing more single-player stuff as of, like, a year and a half or so ago. Right. And then I guess the success of that new Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn sort of changed his mind a bit. And he's like, oh, these games can make money. You know, I'm going to be interested to see just how much money God of War can make, right? Like, I don't know if you guys follow the guy, Matt Priscatella, I think his name is. He's an NPD analyst. He's like, this game, you got to watch the trends because this is not a service-based game. It's going to be interesting to see how much money this thing makes, right? As just a single player game. And I think he's right. If this game does well, that should give Microsoft the incentive to do that. The second thing is Phil's got to see that those studios that Sony have right now, my God, they're just cranking out. We can get Jamie Moran to put that GIF up, hit after hit after hit after hit. Like it wasn't relevant 3 years ago. Did I hear? Is that Mikey Barra?
Yeah, I just wanted to stop by and let everybody know that we do have a new code name for our next Xbox. It is the next Xbox, the Kumbaya Edition. So that's we had to come up with it, after everything that Phil has done. So hang tight, there's good stuff to come for Xbox.
Super Lucky Step 2 at
does it come packed in? Does it come packed in with a game where you sit there and praise other people's games that are being rleased, or you just
that's a great game,
awesome game,
praise
5 stars.
Comes with a Bible edition and everything. Yep, say your prayers, take vitamins, good stuff.
No chills. No chills.
Foxy, you're awesome too, by the way. You're like one of the best Xbox fans. There's a special jar of mayo in the mail for you.
Oh my God. Okay, listen. You know what? You had to ruin it, Newfie. but I agree with you guys to a certain extent because when I see congratulations and stuff, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. It is kind of weird to see them all doing that stuff.
It's it literally fills my Twitter feed when I see that. I'm just like, wow. I'm like, okay, I know the game came out, it's good, right? Like, and there's games that come out on other consoles that I'm excited for, right? Like, I'm a big Nintendo fan. But I'm not sitting there. If I was a developer, working for for a major company, I wouldn't be sitting there being like, man, congratulations. Like I just don't get it.
But this is the part where it gets me. After I see all those congratulations, I'm just over here like, yeah, okay, cool. I hope we're getting that too, right? We are? I better hear that in a couple months, sir.
Yeah.
Get to work, sir. That's just how I feel. Like, congratulations. Okay, cool. I hope we're getting the same treatment.
The one thing I will say is this. The one thing it puzzles me, I have been listening. The community's kind of split on this subject. You know what I mean? So you're even getting a lot of Xbox folks that are saying they don't understand. Phil came out and said, listen, we focused. I think he was responding to Ryan McCaffrey, and he said something along the lines of, we focused on the hardware.
Getting the back end of Xbox
the back end of stuff, getting that fixed, blah, blah, blah. And I understand that. But I will say this much. In just to keep things relative, Sony, which is a much smaller company, nowhere near the amount of money that Microsoft has, did the same hardware iterations. Maybe they didn't have to do all the back work on the Xbox Live stuff that I do completely get. But they still had these, like you can't say even in 2013, regardless of the hardware, you didn't know you needed a game in 2016 and 2017. You can't say that to me. So that doesn't really hold water for me as far as, well, we had to regroup and make a stronger console. So we didn't know. You didn't know the by the way, just so everybody knows in tech, there's a hardware team and there's a software team.
Yep.
There's no way the hardware team puts down. They don't put down the motherboard and the casing and figuring out the heat sinks and then go and program all night long and figure out a game.
Literally, like
I don't understand that.
Yeah, all that stuff's separate. The hardware team would have been the one that would have been working hardest on that stuff, like on the design and making sure that you have a proper cooling.
Sony did a mid-gen console. They've had games. They did have a rough patch in the beginning. They definitely did for the first 2-3 years. We all have to. A lot of people have amnesia. Like I said, gaming's turning more and more into sports. What have you done for me lately? Everyone forgets. So Microsoft was a little bit more game, if you want to talk about the exclusives that were coming out, whether you liked them or not, that's a different conversation. But they had games coming out more frequently in the first 3 years. You had Andrew House saying 2015 was sparse. That's not me saying it, folks. That's Andrew House saying it. But Sony nonetheless still had a mid-gen console. Then they had PSVR, okay? And they got, I don't know, Crap will tell you this, they've got like 30 to 60 games out for PSVR on top of these games. So you can't sit there as Phil Spencer and tell me, well, we were working on a new console. Yeah, we got it. So are the other folks that are half the staff of you and not even a third of the money of you, not even a fifth of the money you have.
If you really want to look at it that way, right? Like the new console thing, like you can't really say that, right? Because every year or every generation, there's a new console that comes out. There's exclusives that release alongside that console. Those consoles generally take 2-3 years of development time. The games are 2 to 3 years of development time. So at any point in time, a company's working on new hardware, new games, all at the same time.
Well, the other thing
they released Breath of the Wild right alongside the Switch.
We gotta say something.
No games, and then be like, yeah, we worked on a console. Here's the console games to be announced.
Did Hellhammer snort a pixie stick before the show? Holy shit! What happened? I can't. He's beating me tonight. Listen, I'm like,
Coca-Cola and Pop Rocks.
If you fast forward this show every 30 seconds, you finish a mooch sentence between Hellhammer. So what I was going to say basically was that we keep forgetting that Microsoft has multiplayer unlock. And what I mean by that is you can be bored of Halo. You can be bored of Gears all you want. And we could say Gears, Halo, Forza. Gears, Halo, Forza. I get it. But
I'd buy Xbox for those three, by the way.
At the end of the day, what are people playing on PlayStation that's multiplayer except for multiplats? Because everybody in the chat always goes, mooch. I've got Call of Duty for that and blah, blah, blah. Well, listen, Crap has said this a number of times. We say this here. Multiplayer games on the Xbox, a lot of us are playing first-party games, okay? And then what we do is we play right now, because of the lack of exclusives in single player, the first party's lacking in a single player. We're playing multiplats for our single player games. That's why the Xbox has been selling. Like, did you see how many Monster Hunter Worlds we sold? I mean, that is a multiplayer game, but it's also it's predominantly a single player game. And same thing with Far Cry. Far Cry sold very well on Xbox. So I mean, you have to see that we are compensating for the single player games, where Sony fans are compensating for the multiplayer games. And that's the one thing I want to bring to fruition and up to focus for both parties is that, yes, we can both sit here and just pile on Microsoft. But because the multiplayer space is dominated by third party, you know, the Sony camp has a little bit more of their shoulders lifted up because they're like, well, we play Call of Duty. You guys are all playing Call of Duty, so it doesn't really matter anyway, right? We have Fortnite. You have Fortnite. It doesn't matter anyway. But you don't realize that a lot of people on Xbox are playing Halo, Gears, Sea of Thieves. You know what I mean? That's what they're playing. They're playing more multiplayer-focused games. It's more of a social interaction console. And that's the bottom line when you divvy these two consoles up.
So why is it acceptable, you know, on PlayStation that they can rely on multiplats for the multiplayer experience, but Xbox can't rely on multiplats for the single player experience? It's just kind of weird when I hear it. You know, you listen to it and you're just like, well, one, you know.
Part of the thing is that I've actually heard this argument before, so I think it's a bunch of crap. But part of it is that people would rather have the single player experience exclusive super AAA games and then play the multiplat because everybody plays the multiplayer games.
Well, you know what, and that could be true, but to me, it's just hypocrisy. That's all that is.
Oh yeah.
If you look at the games, like there's been plenty of really good single player games this generation. You can even just look at like Far Cry. That's a single player game. I mean, I'm not really particularly a fan, but The Witcher 3 is widely regarded as like the best game of the generation
ever made. That is the game of the generation.
Yeah. But Xbox gets the multiplats that have the widest appeal to the widest audience because we don't get all the ones that they can't sell overseas. So they're going to get the games that have, you know, that are almost surefire hits. Like we got Final Fantasy because that has a worldwide audience, but we're not getting a lot of stuff like Yakuza. We're not getting stuff like Nier Automata
on Xbox. You know?
I love Final Fantasy. He was like, man, this is a great game.
That was a great game. Final Fantasy 15 was awesome.
Unless Microsoft is going to hone up the dough to put like a little bit of publishing, say, dollars behind some of these other companies, they're not going to bring out a lot of those games because they just won't do well enough.
That's like you know, new Rise of the Tomb Raider. Microsoft put out money for that, and that was a great game.
That was a great idea. I loved it.
It was like that was like, in fact, it was so great. I just picked it up on PS4 as well.
It was, but it really didn't push Xbox consoles the way they had hoped it was going to. That should have been a system seller, but for some reason it didn't, and that was
don't forget, like, do you ever throw a surprise party and then have some asshole be like, surprise, and the dude's still in the driveway walking in, you're like, wait a minute. Okay? they had the fucking thing all set up so that it was going to sell consoles, and then out of nowhere, the media wouldn't shut up. Hey, when's this coming to PS4? Is it coming to PS4? I only have a PS4. My name's Ryan McCaffrey. I like Xbox. Oops, I mean, when's it coming to PS4? Like, so you constantly had them harping until finally the PR and Aaron had to be like, dude, it's a year-long goddamn deal. Okay, like the surprise is over. Put away the cake.
That's right.
Not even that. They told them it's going to be on PC in a couple months. Remember that? Yeah. So I know a lot of YouTubers that were like, oh, just wait for it to be on PC then.
It was the equivalent of a stripper showing up at a Microsoft party and then somebody goes, hey man, wait at least till 3 songs, she'll take her clothes off, right?
No. Microsoft doesn't allow that stuff anymore, dude.
I mean, you know, ultimately that's the part that I don't understand. And listen, if anyone doesn't believe what I'm saying, hear me out real quick. We didn't know that No Man's Sky was timed. Where was the media barking then? Remember when it was a big deal coming out? Like, don't forget about what it actually was.
No. I was going to say that. I was going to let him finish, but I was just going to be like, who cares about that? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we all say who cares now because we know the flop that it was. But when it was the next thing coming, you know, like the Cup of Christ, it was going to be something amazing. Where was the media being like, when's that coming to Xbox? I only have an Xbox. When can I play? And nobody was doing that. No one ever blows up Sony's
Crash Bandicoot either. That's the funny part. You know what I mean? Like everything that comes out on Sony's platform that was like Street Fighter 5, nobody really hounded them. And then the Capcom were quick to go, this is a forever exclusive, you know? Just like a lot of Xbox gamers are looking forward to that game below, right? And you got the media already badgering them. Oh, well, when's it coming to PlayStation? They're like, well, we're not talking about any other platforms right now besides Xbox and PC. So, you know what that means? It's going to go to PlayStation eventually. So, I mean, you know, and that's fine, you know, because it's an indie game, so who cares? But,
well, no, it all adds up, crap. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's why.
People like to bash and dismiss the fact that you guys got to understand. There's a reason that Coke and Pepsi don't need to advertise during the Super Bowl, but they do because they want to keep badgering you that when you're going to buy a cola, you're going to buy Pepsi or Coke. Pepsi or Coke. You're not buying RC or the cheese ball brand in your local grocery. My point being is the media and propaganda have tremendous potential and pull over the consumer. And when you have the media immediately before Below even comes out telling you that you can buy this on the other console when they said it was going to be an exclusive and it's not, that's the difference, folks.
Just like Cuphead, right? Like how many times did they really
oh my God,
pressure about Cuphead? And we even saw that people were like,
you want it on the Switch as well.
Yeah. What if? Right? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
then they would put the Cuphead art on the Switch or whatever, the PS4. How well do you think it would do? By the way, over 500 watching. Please hit that like button. Let's get over 200 likes. Let's do it. Woo! Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah,
I'll give you a dislike.
Yeah.
Troll hammer.
What a nice guy. Yeah. So
I miss the
anyway,
sound effects.
I know. So TLR9's like Rise 2 confirmed. Yeah, I've been doing that on Twitter because lately Mikey Barrow's like, oh, I remember you, and it was a Rise statue, which looked awesome.
He's trolling us, guys. He's trolling
I know,
us.
right?
Going to Game Pass. That's it. Calm down.
Mike,
Calm down.
Why did you show us Rise statue, Mike? Why? I'm just curious. Mike.
Well, we had to give you something to look at, right?
Oh no!
Touche.
Very good. You think that's something? I mean, do you think that's something, Crap? Or you really think that's just?
I keep telling people this, right? Because yesterday or the day before, Rare tweeted out something about Perfect Dark, which I do actually think they are working on Perfect Dark, and people are like, "Should I get my hopes up?" And I'm like, "Don't do it to yourself." Like,
He's like, not like this.
Yes, don't do it. Even Foxy was doing the little eye things to Mike when he did the Rise thing, and I'm like, I was gonna say don't do it to yourself, but yeah, it's,
no, I already knew. I was already thinking either it's gonna get enhanced or it's going to Game Pass. That's it.
Oh yeah. Oh hey, here's this $5 game going to Game Pass. Which, by the way, even though I still think it's a good value, and I think it could be great down the road. Right now, man, like even my buddy Grave, he always messages me on Twitter, "Hey, Crap, is this Game Pass? You see it, Mooch, right?"
Yeah.
It's
I don't ever know if he's kidding or he's really
He's 100% not kidding. He's like, "Is Hellblade going to Game Pass?" I'm like, "No." Well, what about Overwatch? Is that in Game Pass? No. Sorry. What's in Game Pass? Well, some old games and Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2.
You could save your thumb some sweating if you just send them the list that's posted on XboxLive.com.
Hey, Predator.
He's at Walmart right now trying to decide between the 2-ply and the 3-ply.
Predator, he says Microsoft problem is they need to play dirty like Sony does. When they have marketing deals, they need to implement a gag order. Too many times the people they have marketing deals with open their mouth. That is 100% accurate. Plus, their marketing deals aren't as ironclad.
They're not very good. But whoever's closing Microsoft's marketing deals, like I don't know, but these people need a different job.
They hired some minions, didn't they, from fucking Despicable Me?
Well, dude, here's the thing. the main problem is Phil, whatever reason, doesn't believe in having content that's not on their platform. And I've mentioned this to him. I've mentioned this a million times. I'm like, not just to him, but in general as well. Like, look, if you aren't buying time content for different games, you're keeping content away from your gamers because Sony will go and get that time content, and then we're stuck without it.
Yeah.
And basically that's what's happened, right? So he might not have looked at it that way before. Hopefully he sees that, right? Just having your name at the end of a commercial, that's great. But gamers aren't going to pick the game on an Xbox based on a commercial. They're going to pick it if you got maps or a mission or a strike mission.
Especially if it's a year. And PlayStation tends to do that way more often. They probably still have shit from Destiny 1. I'm over here waiting.
A year time, especially on a multiplayer game, is basically a lifetime.
Exactly. And so nobody cares about a month later getting on that. I've been there back when 360 was in its heyday and had those Call of Duty maps. I've been at a Walmart where there were people buying these games and they're like, which one should we get it for? PS3 or Xbox 360? And they're like, 360, they get maps early, right? This was a big topic of conversation. People know.
I still remember us. Yeah, it was a big one. I still remember getting those maps early, then hopping over on the PlayStation side when they released and smacking people around when the maps were brand new.
Yeah,
He was
because
like,
they
I
didn't
already
how to
know where to
plan.
go.
Exactly.
I mean,
'cause they-
listen, you know, we said this years ago. Crap just gave you one example. I'll give you another. Like Phil also was not doing the marketing deals, right? He was doing marketing deals with literally the B team. And now you're seeing that they're going to go ahead and do Cyberpunk, and now they're going to do Borderlands, and they're going to get some of the other names that are coming out. They got what is there? Metro. They're going at that because here's the deal. I don't think Phil's going to get us extra content with those, but that's irrelevant. This is about the discussion for both brands, right? To keep your brand relevant, you have to have the commercials. So you're going to have all these publishers and them all putting this money on putting an Xbox logo every time these games, and these are popular games. And you also have to show it. I have the most powerful console in the world, but I can't show you because they got it on their stage. And you're like, what? Yeah. So they have to do these moves. And these are moves that Phil didn't want to do in 14, 15, 16. And now we said it over and over and over again. Well, and now he's starting to change his tune. It's just a matter of time before the model fails, and he's going to have to start doing the timed content again as well.
You think that they would have seen the marketing deal issues when the X was releasing, right? And like they were basically showing nothing on the X, like all these third-party games that look amazing on it, and they're all being shown off on PC or PlayStation hardware, like 90% of them, right? Like they had no marketing deals. Like here, buy this super expensive console, take our word for it. Everything looks great, but not showing us anything.
I have learned you can have the best product in the world, but if you're not in enough places, it makes no difference. It's like if you come to Canada, the reason why Tim Hortons coffee sells so well up here, because you can pretty much fucking find a Tim Hortons outside of your nearest washroom. Like they're all over the place. Yeah. It's crazy. And the same with McDonald's. You know why McDonald's sells? Is their burgers better? No, it's because they're everywhere. Like every town you go into, there's like a dozen of them. They're in your Walmarts.
You know, you come up to the East Coast, Noof. Noof, you're right. You come out to the East Coast, you would think you found the nexus of the universe. In New York, you'll walk out of a Dunkin' Donuts, and as you're walking out of a Dunkin' Donuts, you'll stare across the street at another Dunkin' Donuts. You're like, holy shit, I found the nexus to the universe. I'm standing between two Dunkin' Donuts. What business mind was saying that the left and right side of the street in New York needs the same store? Point being is if you don't brand yourself everywhere, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's branding and marketing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Salty.
Got to be everywhere, man.
Yeah, how often do we get PlayStation ads on Xbox stuff? I mean, on YouTube and everywhere else. It's crazy, you know?
Yeah, dude, there's been a
Salty,
every video.
Every Xbox Nation MNC Mornings at Crossfire, there's a Sony ad before our show. Thanks, Sony. You know, I mean, that's what they do, though, when they do it right. Even when they had Sony's Taco Bell deal was even better than Xbox's Taco Bell deal. Who put that thing together? It was like 8 guys in a Halloween mask. What was that?
Hey,
it was terrible,
on, man. Like they look, Xbox could change some things and do good, but you know what?
The problem is, crap. They never changed. When Donnie D left, the rest of the staff stayed. When you get a new head coach in football, the head coach doesn't come in and keep the offensive and defensive coordinator.
They it all around. I mean, Shannon Loft, they just brought in, which is a good topic here.
Well, now you're seeing Matt Booty bring in some. Yeah, go ahead. The new topic. This is a great topic.
Matt Booty, who is now the head of Xbox Game Studio. You know, like, believe it or not, Phil was still doing that while the head of Xbox was very, I guess, probably difficult. Now Matt Booty has brought in the Tomb Raider studio head.
This is a good move. This is a great
which is a really great move, right? Crystal Dynamics studio head.
By the way, guys, I just wanted to say that I love walking into the office when he's there and going, "We got Booty."
Oh, no.
You know what? That actually reminds me of something that Mike would actually say as a joke. You know what I mean? That kind of sense of humor. So basically, this guy, Microsoft Game Production Wing, Microsoft Studios, has hired former Crystal Dynamics studio head Daryl Gallagher. Both Microsoft and Gallagher announced the news via Twitter, with Microsoft Studios head Matt Booty revealing that more will be shared at this year's E3. He said, "I'm thrilled to welcome Daryl Gallagher to the Microsoft Studios executive leadership team. Excited to share more at E3." Now, what else is there to share about this at E3? That's the question mark, right? Because they've already announced it here. Yeah. So what are you sharing at E3? What's his deal? Is he heading up a new studio for Microsoft like that? There's a lot of questions.
Maybe. Just hear me out. Maybe they were taking some old Kinect games, removing the Kinect features, and releasing them in 4K.
Now, if they were to do that, the main thing I could do is say, I've seen people that were like, look, here's Zoo Tycoon and Disney Adventures and this. I'm so happy they re-released these. And those are the people that definitely shouldn't be considered like the hardcore fans because they don't speak for us. That's funny, right? Like I get that you want to have different types of games with your platform, right? You need different titles.
Hey,
but,
yeah, I mean, those games were cool to release if they'd have had other stuff alongside it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like nobody would have said anything, but the fact that your only games basically were
old Kinect games
that were retrofitted to not work with Kinect, although you could still use Kinect, but if all two people had one, so yeah, to me, this is a brilliant move. Like Mooch, what do you think this guy's what does this mean? What does this announcement mean? What do you think it means? What are they going to announce?
I think it's addressing their biggest issue at hand, and that is to have a single player game. You've got a guy that ran everything from the top dog over at, what was it there at Square Enix?
Yeah.
Right. He looked over the Crystal Dynamics projects. Those were very, very successful Tomb Raiders that it came out. We know the numbers on them. And then when you're good in this business, you get acquired. He went from there to Activision. Okay, Activision's big bucks. Activision doesn't ring your doorbell and tell you to have this corner office because you're okay. So now Microsoft getting him is a big deal. I'm hoping it's like all these, a lot of folks, yourself, random people doing videos saying that he's going to be ended up leading a studio for a new IP. I hope that's the case. I hope this is not him joining what I like to call the Casey Hudson beanbag room group. I mean, we all got excited. We all got excited when Casey Hudson and me and Crap were talking about this. I understand Crap's got a good rebuttal, but Casey Hudson came into Microsoft and he just made sure that the water coolers were all at 68 degrees.
Here's the thing. What people
left.
have to remember about Casey Hudson was he got ran out on a rail. He had come off writing Mass Effect 3 and just was eviscerated. You guys remember that fiasco, right? The ending of Mass Effect 3 was just absolutely, people hated it, and the guy wanted to lay low for a few years. He got hired on to Microsoft to head up their VR, AR stuff. Then he went back to doing what he was going to do. So mission accomplished, man. He was never brought on to do.
The problem I got with your analogy, where I'll put the holes to the Swiss cheese on that, is Tom Cruise was jumping on couches praising this crazy Lord that he believed in, and all of a sudden he was back to making $25 million in another Mission Impossible movie. This guy had a bad break for a little while. That's fine, but when he went to Microsoft, why'd they bring him in just to have him? He didn't do anything. So
if
you got to utilize your talent correctly too, Crap.
They brought him in at a time when I believe, unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of money to kind of spend on that kind of stuff. That
may be the truth, because that was before Phil got promoted and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
I think, and actually, I'm going to turn the conversation to Salty. Salty, you did a video the other day. I was actually watching it. I also enjoyed your super hot footage you had while you were doing it. Super hot. But no, you didn't touch necessarily on, I don't think the them bringing in this individual, but it was more on the Phil Spencer and his direction. But I mean, do you agree that, like, if they bring this guy in and they put him as a head of a studio under Matt, I think that's something to be said.
Yeah, if you look at, I like to connect the dots, So if you guys remember back a couple months ago, there's this rumor, like this job posts, that they put out there. We're looking for developers to make a game, like Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was in the news. And then we get this news, and Booty's like, hey, we're hiring this guy and we're going to talk about it more at E3. It's like, why would you do that? E3 is saved for big announcements and stuff like that. So if you start putting these dots together and look at his resume, the fact that he worked on the Tomb Raider reboot and all this other stuff, man, if I was a betting man, I feel like he's going to be head of a new studio, and it's going to be an open world game. That's in my perfect world. That's the game that
feel like definitely wish that
is missing in their repertoire. So if they could get that in there, man, I think it would be good.
I would even take with Salty. I would even take one step lower, Salty, and this is not even giving everyone a bit. Hear me out, because realistically, Tomb Raider games, you can say it's open world, but it's kind of a captured open world, right? It's a limited amount of venturing out. Like you can see a cliff in the distance, but you can't really go to it. But that's okay. Yeah. I'm okay with that. It's
linear with open parts.
Right. And that's actually, believe it or not, that's how people are describing God of War. They're saying God of War is very Tomb Raider, not Tomb Raider of the game, but Tomb Raider map design.
Right.
And that's fine. I actually genuinely like that more than just like a GTA open world or Witcher open world where it's just like it's everywhere.
I like the actual open world, but I like to.
That's fine. That's fine. I like Tomb Raider, and I hypothetically like the way the God of War like model is going to be, because to me that's obtainable. It's reachable. Sometimes when you're in games like Witcher 3, you can get lost in side quests to the point where you forgot where you left off on the main quest. And don't get me wrong, for value, that's fantastic value for your money in the game. But sometimes you do, like I said, I've always said this. As a gamer, I like completion. I do like completion. I don't like just going out there for, I mean, people who've beaten The Witcher 360 hours deep. I mean, who's calling in sick that many days?
I don't even know how many hours I have on The Witcher anymore compared between all 3 copies.
I think this guy's going to be great. Crap, it's nothing but positive stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like just seeing where he come from with Crystal Dynamics and how he was one of the ones that turned around Tomb Raider, because that was like in need of a reboot, and he did that. So it looks like this is going to be some stuff they're going to share. And Phil knows. Exactly. They've got to have
some dude in the chat paranoia said Yakuza 6 is better than anything out on Xbox. Dude, look, you need to stop shaving your pubes in a fucking toaster, dude. Like, seriously.
Hey, look, it's all opinions, man. It's all opinions. If he thinks that's a great game, good for him. He's wrong, but good for him for feeling that way, man. I can dig it. There's some dude in here saying that there was some dude in here one time saying that, who was that? Hardcore Gamer says Gravity Rush 2 is like the best game ever or whatever. And I've played those Gravity Rush games and they're garbage. They're not good. They're so bad that I couldn't even think of a funny way to review them. They're just that bad. So, I mean, look, this guy I think could bring something fantastic for Xbox. Microsoft needs to get people excited again, right? Which leads me into this. How important is this E3 for Xbox and Microsoft in general? I feel like this is a make or break for a lot of people. I doubt Microsoft is going to be able to please everybody with what they show, but they're well aware. They're well on notice that people want to see some stuff. I feel like you're going to have some, like for me, it would never be a thing where I'd go, okay, I'm giving up Xbox and going to PlayStation.
I mean,
now that's never going to happen to me.
That's extreme. Reasons. That's too extreme.
Yeah, that's extreme, but there could be a point where they say if it was bad enough, where I'd be like, yeah, I'm done investing in the brand.
Here's the thing, though. Like maybe, like if you have an Xbox One X, you literally have the best versions of every single game, right? Every single multiplat, which is what most of us play as gamers. Like 99% of the time when we play games, it's multiplats. People are excited about God of War. They're going to put their 20, 30 hours into it and be done with it and move back to their multiplats, right? This is exactly how this gaming thing works. I agree. Exclusives matter, but Microsoft, to me, has already, like, I believe Phil, like he's a man of his word. He goes, hey, we're going to fix this. The back end, we're going to get fixed the hardware problem. We got the backwards compatibility. We got this. And he was honest. So why wouldn't you believe him on the games are coming part, right? Like he realizes that, hey, we better put some kind of roadmap out there because gamers deserve that. They invested all this money.
This is the year that they have to show something. They have to show a roadmap or what games are coming up, or they have to show some new IPs.
Here's our secret. Forza Horizon 4. Who saw it coming, folks? Nobody saw that coming.
Right? I'm looking forward to seeing that, right? Because I Forza Horizon games are like one of my favorite games. I look forward to them every year.
Hey, stop Six Doc. Thank you, man. This is Crapgamer's channel. Usually you guys just donate. Me, Crapgamer? Man, thank you very much. Six. Yeah.
Hilarious. You just gave me money.
But Microsoft needs to show something this year. Not saying, hey, if it's a lackluster E3, I'm going to jump ship or whatever, but it's going to be a real blow to, basically to my enthusiasm for the brand.
Yeah, it's gonna be disappointing.
Yeah, if they don't have something new or anything big, it has to be this year.
Salty, let me ask you something.
Let me just finish here real quick, actually. So they can't even just say like here's Halo or a Gears game either. It has to be something new and it has to be something big.
Yeah. I agree, but Salty, since like people might not know you as well, what is your thoughts? Like, where do you stand with Xbox right now? Are you happy, or what do you think they got to show, or is it a make or break thing for you? Like, what's your thoughts on that? I'm sure like a lot of people want to know.
Definitely not happy with the games right now. Like, I think that I've talked about it before. I think that there's that old saying out there from, PlayStation fanboys when they're trying to dig at Xbox. Xbox doesn't have games. We have games, but we are lacking that generation type game that we received in the 360 era and the Xbox One, the original era, with games like Halo and Gears and stuff like that. When it comes to E3, I think it's a very important E3 for Xbox, but honestly, I feel like Phil Spencer could come out on a unicycle juggling, and they could announce the acquisition of Activision and, everything else. And people still wouldn't be happy with, Xbox's E3. It's just the way it goes sometimes. But I think, to get people back on board, they need to make the announcements of games that are coming, new games. And I think Phil Spencer needs to kind of go back a little bit on his stance about, not announcing games that are too far out, because I think that's kind of backfired. Because when they announced, the cancellation of Scalebound and they closed down some studios, and then we had all these delays, a lot of people are just wondering what's coming, in the future. And I think a lot of that will be revealed this E3, but definitely need to hear what's coming on the forefront. I think that they're revving up for the next gen, to be honest. I think the next gen is in 2020, and that's my guess. And a lot of these games that they'll be announcing won't drop until then. So they need to do something that will hold over the fans in the meantime,
Yeah. That's a very good take on that as well. Foxy, what do you think? You Dire Straits upset at Xbox? Think it's a make or break? Are you gonna smash your Xbox One X?
No, it was a gift. I would never do that. I love my ex. But overall, okay, it's just very interesting to think about, because I've had both feelings actually. For the most part, though, I am happy with my Xbox. I'm happy with my games. I enjoy playing online with my friends. I don't think about it in that aspect where I'm like, this should be better. I should have more to play. I actually have too much to play, to be honest. Like me and some of my friends, we have extreme giant backlog. So I'm still trying to catch up with all my games anyway. But I do want more for the brand, obviously, or for Xbox, or for my friends, for all the gamers in general. And there's times where I do see it. I do see where you guys are coming from, because certain people, or the whole back and forth, the extreme fanboyness happens. And yeah, certain things get pointed out and called out. And you do look across the street and see that sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. And you're like, hey, I want some of that cool stuff too, right? But overall, that doesn't bother me. Even though I want those things, I'm still having a good time with what I have right now. But I am looking forward to seeing E3. I want them to show us maybe some new IPs or something to bring back that we haven't seen for a while, and do remakes and stuff like that. So that would be cool. But I don't have an issue with Microsoft. I'm not mad at them. If I watch E3 and it's good and it's not amazing, and I don't want to see people like going across the street, flipping cars, burning buildings, and anything like that. I don't want to see people freaking out, because I'm like, just enjoy your games, what you have right now, and be happy with the best console that's available to you, and it plays the games the best way possible, and that's the X.
Yeah. Noof Nuka, boom, boom, kaboom,
E3, yeah.
How do you feel, man? Are you taking your Xbox? Are you? Is this a make or break year for you, or what do you want to see, man?
Not at all. And I'm going to tell you 2 reasons why. Because Halo and Gears of War are my 2 favorite franchises on the freaking planet. And there's only one console that you can play them on, and that is called the Xbox. And we know that they're coming. It's just a matter of time. But I get it. I mean, I've been part of the group. I've been a little skeptical. I've been a little down on Microsoft. I'm sure I've said my fair share of poopy. But look, they're gonna bring it. And I mean, only time will tell. Every company goes through a lull. We saw it last generation. We're seeing it now. It's just flip flop. Where Sony's had a bit of a stronger lineup during the dull months of Xbox, and vice versa. But look, it's gonna turn around. They spent the better part of the last 2 years for the most part really trying to get the hardware up to snuff. Now that it's in place, the X has been a success so far. At least I think it is, and I'm super excited and happy and very happy with my X. Yeah, things are going to turn around it's just a matter of time. I think we will see some big things from Microsoft, before this generation closes out and moves on to the next one. So no, I'm not giving up on my Xbox. It's not going out the window. I mean, I would take Gears of War.
It's not going to be Crapgamer playing Connect.
No, I would take Gears of War
for you
over every single exclusive that Sony has and threw them all.
Hell yeah, bro!
Gears of War for life, baby. They ain't got nothing on that stuff.
Yeah, I pretty much have to agree. Wouldn't be doing a good job if I didn't find out how Mooch. Are you on the ledge, my friend? Are you looking down? Are you
comfortable inside on the couch watching?
Gotcha.
Yes, I can watch traffic from far away. No, the thing about it is this: the X is actually selling very well. We all know that the X is doing well. They even said that Matt Priscapella or whatever his name is there.
Yeah, Priscatella.
Priscatella. He's a Guido like me. We're good.
Yeah.
He literally he says the X is selling quite well in the States. So here's the thing. X is doing well. I'd like everyone to stop and think for a second. If you just take everyone out of your mind that's on Twitter and YouTube that including myself, and you say, how are my friends that are playing this that really don't pay attention to all this community talk that we have weekly? They're all playing Call of Duty, PUBG, Fortnite. Okay. None of them, all my friends that don't pay any attention to this, none of them have any idea what we're talking about. They're very content with their X or their S. They don't even know God of War is coming out tomorrow because that's not their thing. I'm not saying that's not a bash on God of War. That's not their thing.
Comes out Friday, not tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow night for everybody who has a pre-order.
I don't get it till Friday afternoon sometime.
Crap, that's a you problem. You decide to live. All right? You and Hellhammer have to take turns to go get a glass of water outside. That's a you problem. All right? We have running water up here in New York. I love you guys, but really. All right, here we are. So, but the thing about it is the X is doing just fine. And I think that we've all made our case. I think the number one thing we have to take out of E3 is a roadmap from Phil. No one's expecting Phil to be like, and now you can go home and play all these games. No, that's not going to happen. But you can't. The only thing we all know is Crackdown 3 and Forza Horizon 4. That's it. That's coming out possibly this fall. That's all we know moving forward. That's not what a gaming consumer fan base is entitled to. There's things you are entitled to and things you aren't entitled to. And a lot of times, some of us, me included, we ask for things we're not entitled to. The one thing we are entitled to is to have an idea of what's coming out in the next 12 to 18 months. We always should know that because we're buying a console that's not future proof, but it's future proof-ish. Okay, because we're going to have consoles coming out every 3 years now. So it is what it is. But at the same time, Microsoft has to give you, and if they're not going to do, at the very least, if you're not going to go ahead and give us new IP this generation, you've got to start buying content that makes us want to buy, whether it be third party, like what Sony did with Bloodborne. Okay, that's a great deal they did. Great deal. You took a beloved franchise.
Plus, they helped them along the way. Apparently, Sony helped co-develop that or whatever that means, publish it too. Or
right,
whatever.
exactly. It was the same thing they did with Crash, or the same thing they did with Shenmue.
The
same
problem
thing you're doing with
Microsoft is whatever, unless it's something I think they really need to build something from their own studio, right? Because no matter what, they could have Epic Games. They could have a partnership with Epic Games, right?
Right.
Epic Games builds them a great game. People are going to be like, it's probably going to come to PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
But that's why they need to have something built from their own internal studios, right? Because we all know, and it's not a bad thing in my opinion, because I love Gears, Forza, and Halo. Those studios are building those games.
Right, they are. Yes, they are.
Microsoft needs these other studios that can do a little bit different things, a little bit more. Just like kind of Rare. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Rare can. Supposedly we might hear something else from Rare at E3. And they're also working constantly on making Sea of Thieves better. As much as people want to hate on that game, it's hugely successful. It's still in the top 3 in the UK. Shut up, Hellhammer.
Oh no.
Hey.
The one thing that I constantly hear is people say, and I think we are kind of all in agreement, that Xbox needs that title, that definitive title, that not only, whether it's a new IP or maybe it's an older IP, that they need that title that sort of stands on its own. It is a legitimate Game of the Year contender. But here's the problem. While I know they kind of need it, can they bring it? Because the thing is, I think they can bring it, but will it still get the acclaim that it has? Because honestly, I just see them nailing Xbox, to the wall no matter what they bring out. It's kind of like Salty said earlier, you know, they could come out in their chariots of fire, you know what I mean? And someone's gonna
He could come out riding a scorpion, holding Scorpios with like, Xbox games balanced on his head, you know, and people would be like, man, that was okay.
Every Xbox game automatically seems to get at least 2 or 3 points lower, no matter how good it aims to be. And
people think people think if you say that you're a tinfoil hat wearing person, right? Which isn't the case. If you look at games early on in the Xbox, especially early on, right? Like Sunset Overdrive, when you play that game, a lot of people like would think that it was like a higher rated game. It's like an 80. You know, I mean, that's good, but it's not like great. You know, what has Insomniac done lately that's been 80? You know, like Ratchet and Clank got like a super high score. Spider-Man's going to score insanely well. You know, it seems like when Insomniac does things for not Sony, it scores poorly. Like they did that Fuse game, remember, for EA?
Right, yeah.
Scored poorly. They did, you know, Sunset Overdrive, I think it's an 85 to 88 in there. You know what I mean? Like, even when you look at Ori and the Blind Forest, right? Fantastic story, narrative, great game. If that would have been a PlayStation 4 exclusive, that's probably a 90, 95. You know, the fact that it's Xbox One, it doesn't even hit a 90. You know, it took a miracle to get Forza Horizon 3 into the 90s on Metacritic, right?
Yeah. Somehow.
Still had multiple people give it a 2 out of 10.
The last time an action platform game on Xbox One Game of the Year, was it not Gears of War back in 2006? When that game first came out, it was really like nothing else on any console. I mean, it was basically a groundbreaking title that, you know, the reviewers, for the most part, they couldn't ignore it because there was nothing out there like it. I mean, graphically, sound, story-wise, I mean, Gears of War set a massive precedent, but at least that's the last time I can remember an Xbox, you know, platform game getting that sort of accolades.
Can I tell you something specifically about that bothers me? Gears of War 1, Metacritic.
Yeah.
On the 360, got a 94. But Gears of War Ultimate Edition, guess what it got? It got an 82.
Yeah. Too much A button.
What the heck is that?
Too much A button.
It's the same freaking game, but it looks better. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that bothers me. Why?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Because on the Xbox One,
right?
Yeah.
But Shadow of the Colossus, which was the same fucking game with a reskin on it, got all sorts of accolades. Did it not?
There's no bias. There's no bias.
Nothing added to it. Nothing added to it.
It was reskinned after another reskin. Let's not forget that it was released on PS3 before too.
Right.
This is true.
Added stuff and improved on that game. Like that's what you call the Ultimate Edition of a remaster. Was Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and like Foxy said, it scored lower than the original. Like,
makes no sense.
So you explain that to me.
Well, the other thing is, you know, you talk about the media for a second there, and you're talking about reviews and Metacritic, because that's basically what it is. It's all the media's reviews, and you know, ultimately, you stop and you see Ryan McCaffrey on IGN. This is the second or third time he's had.
I can't see him on Twitter because
conflict. Well, lucky you. So
Crappy's like, who's that?
But yeah, right. Who's that? He's had 2 or 3 conflicts now with Xbox executives. Right. He had the little tiff with Mike Ibarra, and now he's had this. This wouldn't be a tiff, but it was a back and forth with Phil. When was the last time the Beyond guys in 2015 with the sparseness of Sony's lineup? I don't remember Greg Miller back then when he was with IGN, or Colin Moriarty, or what's his name there? I can't remember the other guy who wears a cardigan every day when it's warm out. That guy, thank you, Marty Sleva. Those guys weren't being like, "Dear Joseph, I don't understand why you don't have more games out. Love Beyond." Nobody did that. Nobody did it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they have the audacity in this and that, and this is partially like the Xbox executives' fault because they're doing the whole kumbaya in light and candles. If that's what they want to do, that's what they get. But this is ultimately all that nonsense that we've been talking about since 2013 all the way till today. And that's what builds up. And that's why you see this. The Metacritic for that Gears of War score, there's no excuse for that. There's no way the Ultimate Edition should be that much lower than the game itself when it's been enhanced. And then we've got 2 examples on the Sony side that have been reskinned, and they went up.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what?
There's definitely a discrepancy there, and a lot of people are, like, don't believe it. But it's
that's
just
okay.
like,
What are you gonna? I mean, you can't. You know, if you don't want to believe it, you don't want to believe it. That's fine. But you can't say it doesn't exist,
because they'll bring up something like, "Oh, well, the Order 1886 scored poorly." These people still want to keep their jobs, but this is what they did, right? They're like, hey, we scored that a 6 out of 10. And the next day they go and write an article that's called, hey, you're not crazy if you love the Order 1886.
Right. Yeah, and you say damage control. That's damage control at its finest. It's like they're the one that gave it a 6, and then because they were getting backlash from the Sony community, they went and made an article the next day, and they were like, yeah, just because we gave it a 6, it doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah,
let's talk about all the good things. And did a show on that on IGN. Yep. I mean, it was just unbelievable. This is the kind of stuff you see, and like I say, it doesn't really matter in the end of the day. But this is the uphill battle when Phil comes out at E3. So listen, let's get back to what the original question was. What does Phil Spencer need to do? Here's what he needs to do. Massive amounts of branding on third-party deals. He has to have a roadmap. He's got to show the beloved Fable franchise. I don't care if it's a CGI. You need to show it. Show
Title
your cards.
Screen.
Right?
Just like Nintendo did.
With Metroid, right? Yep, just boom, Fable, and then throw the mic in the air and let Aaron Greenberg show his sneakers. It doesn't matter, okay? Doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you end with Fable, and you let people know that your beloved franchises are intact. At the very least, very least, you may not win E3, but you'll keep the media somewhat quiet.
Yeah,
and that's a victory.
People from complaining about Super Lucky Tail.
Right.
Let me ask you this. So Microsoft needs exclusives.
Right.
And then we found out recently that it turned out like David Jaffe pitched Drawn to Death to Microsoft and they turned it down. Good on them for that one, actually. But apparently Cliffy B.
Oh, you and Mooch loved that game, though. Come on.
Yeah, we played it that one time. Amazing.
8 hours. It was a long time.
Yes, it was great. And Cliffy B pitched a game to Microsoft called Dragonflies recently. That apparently is like a single player action adventure, whatever, and they turned that down too. Does it seem weird to you guys that they would be turning down these games at a time when they have very little in terms of game? Also, I want to point out that there's also this other rumor that, you know, it is what it is. It's gotten around. Supposedly, when Playground Games was going to do remember when they announced that they were going to build an open world RPG, it was going to be a new IP, right? Yeah. That was what was on their site. Phil Spencer turned that down. Yeah. And then it wasn't until later that he goes, hey, we'd be interested if you can make it a Fable game. And that's when they changed it on the site to exciting IP on Playgrounds. So Phil didn't want the game when it was a new open world RPG. Yeah. He only wanted it after they agreed to make it into a Fable game.
Well,
and so that's interesting. And apparently there's other games much more shocking that I haven't heard the names of, but that they turned down.
Well, the thing is that turning down games like the David Jaffe game and the Cliffy B games, like those are kind of shocking because those are basically games that probably, even if, you know, Drawn to Death wasn't your cup of tea or whatever, you know, those are games that they probably could have bought for like basically nothing.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, they were the extra games basically for you know, Microsoft dropping it's equivalent to like $1 for them. I mean, and Playground doing Fable makes sense because I think that Microsoft also realizes that they need some games that can't be said, hey, this is coming to PlayStation.
Well, look, most big companies like Microsoft, they want to know there's return on investment. They invested in Record, didn't really work out. They invested a lot of money in Quantum Break.
You better believe they're going to continue investing in Record, though.
But, well, you know.
What sequel do you guys want to see? Sunset? Rise? You know, Quantum Break 2? Too bad. Record 2. Nice.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, like you look at their track record. When they invested in Minecraft only after it was a bona fide success. They invested in PUBG only after it was a bona fide success. They weren't honing up the dough for these properties prior to. They were already proven properties, and now they have the choice to, well, obviously Minecraft they've invested long term, and PUBG we still don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if Microsoft eventually said let's lock PUBG down because it looks like it's going to be a strong title for many years to come. But that's the way it goes in big business, folks. And yes, Microsoft runs their franchise or their company differently than Sony because, first of all, they don't have as many internal studios to rely on to crank out games, and the ones that they do have dedicated are working on already established franchises. Like, it's pretty safe to say if you make Halo, Gears, or Forza, it's going to do at least decent business, whether it makes 10 or 12 million, but it is going to make back its profit. You know, they're bona fide proven franchises.
Yeah, I mean they are, and I think people just want more as well. You know what I mean? Like there's so many, and Sony has these studios that seem to have a little bit more freedom and can just, and now, like, it's funny, people forget about how there was lack of exclusives to launch the PS4 for the first like 3 years. Yeah, there was a couple things here or there, but for the most part it was dry, and now that's all starting to pay off for them. Whereas Microsoft really came out strong, and that, a lot of that was based on third-party deals. Look at Rise, that was a third-party deal. Dead Rising 3, that was a third-party deal. You know, Titanfall, man, that was I mean, realistically, that was a hell of a first year for Xbox One, and they still managed to not get any traction because the hate for that console was just real. You know, I thought that they should have never lost Titanfall. That was something special. And then once that went multi-plat, I don't care what anybody says. Once that game went multi-plat, it really lost some shine. Like, I think that's a much better exclusive. And I know people are just think I'm crazy when I say that, Mooch, but I know that you think the same way. But that's much better as an exclusive, don't you think?
Oh my God, yeah. And well, if the first one was head over heels better than the second one too. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
well, the campaign on the second one was awesome.
Yeah. But anyway,
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Lassie, I'm in the well. Lassie, no, go get Timmy. Listen, you know the thing about
it gave me the feels, man. When your robot dies, man, come on.
I don't know. It was a jumping platform. The whole thing that made Titanfall is the multiplayer. The thing I thought they would have done.
You need cores. Pick up cores.
Yeah, pick up your battery. No, I thought they had a game. They had a game winner there with Titanfall, especially early on. And I thought with the whole PC as Xbox and Xbox as PC, I thought that was something that they could have integrated. And you know, it's a shooter box. It's just something that they're known for. And I thought that would have been something so great to put into their portfolio, something fresh, and people loved it. Really, people were eating it up with a spoon. And we saw how Titanfall 1 did on Windows, PC, and Xbox. It killed. I think it was over 10 million units sold. That's a lot. Yeah. And the fact that they just kind of, you know, and part of that's not Microsoft's fault too, because, you know, the IP and everything belonged to Vince Zampella, and he just, you know, you saw him. What do you mean Xbox? We were only with Xbox for the first. What do you mean? What's that? Vince, there's a $25 million check underneath your left arm. Oh, is that from Microsoft? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. They forgot they had that. It was PS4 or bust for him. So he wanted to be on all platforms. And when they did that, they kind of dumbed it down a little bit. They made it more casual. It was a much slower paced game. There was camping all of a sudden, and it was a missed opportunity. I even think for Respawn, it was a missed opportunity. You know, some people could turn around and say, well, no, Respawn got picked up by EA. Listen, they got picked up by EA on the cheap because they were giving away Titanfall for like $8.
Oh, yeah.
You can pick it up on PS4 right now for like $5. I'm just
right. Yeah, so you know what I mean? That was a missed opportunity for both parties. I mean, Vince Zampella could have never had to work again in his life, you know, to sell to Microsoft and get those exclusive rights. But hey, listen, it is what it is. I definitely thought that would have been a great title for them to acquire.
Oh, absolutely. That would have been like second to none, honestly.
I was gonna say, it is kind of disappointing to hear that they have rejected some things. I would like to think that they saw what they're being presented wasn't good enough. And I know how Drawn to Death, you know, I don't know. I feel like they tried to deliver that like a Rocket League all over on the PlayStation because it came out and it was free. It was a PlayStation Plus game or something. So they tried to do that. It didn't work out. They had issues with the servers. So they had little tiny rooms, and I was like, I can't find anybody to game with. So it was pretty rough when that game came out. I don't know how is it doing now. It's probably dead, just like
nobody's playing
Lawbreakers or something. And then the other game, which is from Cliffy B, I don't know. I'm already questioning him anyway because the only thing I cared that he did was in the past, was before when it was on the 360 and he was doing different kind of games like Unreal and Gears and stuff like that. And now it's kind of like, I don't care what you're doing right now, dude, because it probably was a copy paste of something else anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not really interested in that, but it is disappointing to hear that Microsoft is rejecting things when they need things. I just hope that they're looking at quality over quantity.
But do you guys think that guys like Cliffy B and David Jaffe soured the relationship with respective companies? The reason I say that, because here they were basically, the brains behind some of the biggest franchises on PlayStation and Xbox. They come out, they make these award-winning, highly acclaimed games, and then all of a sudden, they're seeming to have a hard time finding a home, with various titles. David Jaffe's last one, Drawn to Life, well, me and Mooch and Crap can attest to it, had some potential there, but obviously didn't live up to its billing, and that was even free to play or some shit. And of course, Cliffy B tries, instead of using his, Gears was a creative title that basically stood out amongst itself. Then he does Lawbreakers, for more or less was a copycat of Overwatch with some different elements in it. So, and I've heard rumors to the grapevine, various people talking about some of these guys, and it's just like a regular job at work. Like sometimes, people's heads get swollen and they say stuff and they sour the relationship, and those words, they spread around the industry. Those people might have that repertoire, that name. It's like even Tim Sweeney, he's kind of a popular name, but some people don't like him and how he operates too. Right?
Well, listen, let's go full circle here. Let's take this conversation, go right back to the beginning with what I said. Okay, you've got Drawn to Death and you've got Lawbreakers, both multiplayer shooter focused, and they both picked. I understand Microsoft may have said no, but they went on a system that's a single player console. That console is a single player console. Lawbreakers and Drawn to Death maybe not have been top 5, top 10, but would have fared much better on the Xbox because it's a multiplayer focused console. So when everybody sits there and says, why don't we have our God of Wars? Where's our where's our Horizon Zero Dawns? Where's our Last of Us 2s?
I don't want knockoffs of those games anyway, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but my point being is just we're asking about those two titles. Those were two titles that have done much better on the Xbox because the Xbox is a multiplayer shooter focused box. We have to look at the product. Okay, there's a reason that there's Almond Joy and Mounds. One's got nuts, one doesn't. You pick the one you like, folks. If you're a multiplayer focused gamer, and you own an Xbox, you're happy. If you're a single player focused gamer and you own an Xbox, well, I can see where this drought has caused you some issues, right?
I'm just gonna throw out the Crapgamer knows all about those Almond Joys.
Right. Well, it's funny because
you go through a phase of Almond Joys.
Steve Tech in the chat, he says, "Stop! It's not. There's no damage control here, but
everything is damage control.
And everything you say, so people. Why even talk? It's not damage control at all. The fact of the matter is, if you're all you guys that are in the chat that are saying it's damage control, you're all single player gamers. You are, because if you had an Xbox, you'd be playing Gears tonight or something else.
Yeah, there's Gears updates coming. You can play as Griffin again.
There's everything out there. I mean, there's all kinds of people are playing PUBG, people are playing Fortnite, people are playing Call of Duty, people are playing Battlefield.
Probably more people playing multiplayer on Sea of Thieves than they are playing
Overwatch. I mean, there's just like you guys are saying that you guys have those, we have those too. That's the whole point of the matter. That's just where the focus is. And you can see Lawbreakers did nothing on PS4, like literally nothing. There was more people standing in line at a McDonald's the day that launched in your local hometown than there were playing Lawbreakers. That's just something wrong with that. So
Steve Tech says, tell me when anyone from Xbox said it's for multiplayer. I don't know.
I don't really know what do you mean. I think he's trying to say Xbox executives. Well, no, an executive's not going to come out and shun half of their customer base.
They're never going to admit that.
But you get at the same time, it is what it is. The writing's on the wall.
But they do talk about their servers and they talk about their network highly, compared to what PlayStation does or anything like that.
They're always saying we've got the #1 online and all that stuff.
Yep.
When you could change your name on PSN, then we could talk about who's the online.
Hey, just because there's plenty of McLovins running around on there doesn't mean you know what I mean. Like you gotta remember that. Xbox was really reinvented that, man, with the original Xbox and the online. And, remember when they used to do the voice changer? That, because then PS3 did that and those suck. Yeah, I'm glad that they stopped doing that. But yeah, it's, Microsoft has done a good job with that. Obviously, their forte is the multiplayer stuff. They need to really kind of do something single player and just blow everybody away. That's what they need to do. Just silence the critics. And unfortunately, I don't think Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like anytime extremely soon.
There's one way to do that right now, crap, and that's take advantage of that fucking horsepower in that Xbox One X and come up with something that makes your eyeballs blister, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a problem because I'm an Xbox dude, but the honest truth of the matter is because Sony does more realistic graphics with their exclusives.
Right.
Realistic graphics.
Yeah, realistic graphics. Yeah, because they do that and the more mature stuff, those exclusives like on the Pro and stuff look better than the stuff that's on the Xbox One X in terms of what they're doing. Because multiplats, while they do look great, and you're going to see like Far Cry 5 looks amazing, and there are a lot of games, but the exclusives are what really shine. And a lot of the exclusives on Xbox are like Super Lucky Tail and Sea of Thieves, which look great for what they are. But they're obviously not taking advantage of.
They're pretty and they're artsy, but it's not realistic. And what stands out to people when you have, blood and gore and stuff. He
says, "Crap! Tell me how Xbox Live is more multiplayer focused." Are you kidding me?
Oh God. Hey, real quick on Cliffy B. He's the snake oil salesman, and it's funny that he's coming out on Twitter. It's kind of a plea bargain. It's like, Microsoft didn't accept my game. It's like, no, duh, man. Look at the proofs in the pudding, you know. Yeah. So I don't blame them for not picking up dragonflies or whatever it's called, you know. Yeah.
So it's called karma. Didn't he try to go and sell Lawbreakers to Xbox or something and then turn around and give it the 1 year to Sony?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, Microsoft, the rumor is Microsoft offered him a chance to showcase his game on their stage last E3 and he turned it down because Sony paid him money. He wanted a bunch of money. And so that's
the only thing he cares about. I don't think he's really focusing on the games themselves.
Yeah. Crap answers. You got to answer that guy's question with basically we've got look for group built into the system. You've got a better online chat. You can hear the person you're talking to better, which
I'd say the fact that there's no such thing as scheduled maintenance on Xbox Live and there is on PlayStation Network. That tells you everything you need to know. You can change your name. You can do the look for group. You can do the party stuff. It's much better set up for the multiplayer.
It just is. I mean, there's no question right now that Sony's killing the single player space. There's no question that Microsoft's multiplayer space it's built for that. It's just built better for that. There's no way around it. There's just no way.
Yeah,
both are undeniable facts. I mean, like I said, Sony's killing the single player space. But realistically, at the end of the day, when you come down to it, crap, the sound. We've played chat. All of us have played chat on PSN when we were doing another. We can't even it's all.
Yes, I would like surprise with that.
You know what's funny is you can listen to our stream of Drawn to Death when we did that on your YouTube channel, Mooch.
Yes.
And my microphone, which is a brand new mic, by the way, sounded like crap.
It's awful.
It's terrible.
He wants the burger.
Yeah, it's bad.
Is that a liter of cola?
Yeah,
no, sorry, go ahead.
Just a fact. Sony doesn't take their online as serious. That's why they don't have. Another reason is Sony doesn't even do multiplayer.
Look at the last time Sony bragged about a multiplayer game that they wanted everyone to get a hold of, and that was MAG. You guys remember MAG?
Massive action game.
That was an absolute
nobody remembers
catastrophe.
They shut it down.
Yeah, they shut it down. Like my whole point is like Sony doesn't emphasize. When was the last time all the Sony fans in the chat? Can you please tell me what first party game is multiplayer focused that you guys all play?
Mr. points out a good point too. Sony doesn't have dedicated servers. There you go. Yeah. There's a good answer.
Well, there's your answer, Steve Tech. We just gave you like 8.
Yeah, that we gave you
all I got was look for a group. We said look for a group. We said you've got the chat. You can hold 16
dedicated
people versus
servers?
the 4. You have dedicated servers.
You know, people
and
would
multiplayer games. I don't know what you want.
People would say, was it Killzone? And they would like try to talk about that game to me because I liked Halo and stuff, and they would compare them or something. And then I played it, and I was like, oh no, this is so bad. I gotta go. and obviously, the developer said the same thing because then they switched it up, and now they're doing better than ever.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like how a few people are putting at least I got to give this one guy credit. Where is he here? Games Trailers, he's a Sony fan. He goes Killzone Shadowfall, LOL.
Yeah. Like, there it is.
Like that's like Killzone's terrible, and we all know that.
Let's not forget, what was it before Christmas? FIFA tried to hold a fucking PlayStation tournament, and it crashed, and they had to switch over to Xbox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the middle of a tournament.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Steve Tech, like, we don't have the list in front of us. This is off the top of our head. Noof, that's a great point.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, the fact that you can't change your name, basically, it sums it all up for me.
and then there's that.
Yeah, I mean, like, who wants to change their name anyway, right? Like, I heard people damage control that. Like, who wants to change your name? Who really cares about 4K? Who really cares about this? It's like, it's an interesting type situation. I'm just gonna kind of say that. Like, we do have some Sony fans in the chat though, and that's always welcome, man.
No, it is good. I actually like the guys that are here. Shout out to whether you're, and I think Game Trailers is actually trying to say he's more PC, but like, the thing about it is, it is nice to have a little bit of the other side of the coin too. Like that's I think the other reason you guys are also in on this show is because you're tuning into the other side of the coin. I really genuinely am excited for this weekend. I can't wait to play God of War. I really, really mean that.
Yeah,
like that's not just.
I'm excited to play it too. Yeah,
I really am. Like this game is going to be something special, and these types of games don't come out. As we just had this conversation, the entire show. These games don't come out very often. And I know a lot of you guys liked Horizon Zero Dawn. I that one was a miss for me. I didn't care for that one.
That's a no for me, dog.
It's a no for me, dog.
But the only thing was, Mooch, I told you, I was like, you're not even going to get anywhere.
No, I tried, man.
So boring.
Man.
I liked it, but it made me feel like playing Tomb Raider instead, to be honest.
Yeah.
Great
I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Man, I miss Tomb Raider. I'm going to go play that.
Yeah, there's some good acting in Tomb Raider and some decent dialogue and
the tombs and the puzzles are a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to trying God of War. I'm actually picking it up for my brother's birthday this weekend.
Oh, yeah. So you get to play the PS4 a little bit, huh?
Yeah. So I'm gonna borrow his game and I'm gonna borrow his console because mooching.
Hey.
Mooching. Hashtag mooching. Love it, Foxy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's that game is gonna be amazing. Like, I don't get where people are like, oh crap, salty about this game. Man, I get to play that game. I'm happy because I spent, okay, so yeah, it's been well documented that I spent a lot of money on Xbox Ones this gen. I spent a lot on PlayStation stuff too, man.
Yeah.
I bought a Vita.
Only VR. All the VR, that's it.
Yeah, I own all the VR, right? If it's VR on PlayStation 4, I own it.
Yeah. For someone who supposedly hates God of War, you went out and even bought the Stonemason edition.
Hey, I got that baby coming too. Yeah, man. I tell you what, I have
video.
Yes, you're gonna see. You know what? People thought it wasn't me in that video, my hands or whatever.
Hand model.
I don't know. Yeah, like I don't get it. Right? They're like,
that wasn't Crapgamer. Any of that? Come on, get out of here.
He's got Costanza hands.
I do got Costanza. That's what you get for avoiding manual labor your entire life.
This is where I said about people hear what they want to hear, because a lot of people, some people I get from based on their replies that you see in the chat, think that people on this panel have it out for Sony, that we hate the PlayStation.
Absolutely
and it
not.
couldn't be anything further from the truth. We all love PlayStation. We have them. We play them. We buy our shit for them. I bought people that go out and buy a PlayStation VR. Does that sound like you hate PlayStation when you're willing to invest in a
Man, I hate PlayStation. Let me go spend $300.
Let me pay the bills here. Classic Love says, I'd rather not change my name and have strong single-player games with light multiplayer. Sony exclusive games along with third-party multiplayer games and content. Just saying.
But the same thing goes, Classic. This is what we were talking about on Zair's channel the other day. That's fine. You have every right to say that. But the counter to that is then we have the better multiplayer games, and we rely right now, currently during our drought, on the third-party single-player games. And
so can't we rely heavily on amazing multiplayer and get our fill of single player through the third parties, as well as our multiplayer games for the most part have good single players. Traditionally, Halo and Gears have pretty good ones. So Lucas says, end the show so Foxy can pay attention to me. She paid $2 for that.
Bye, Lulu. Bye, Lulu.
Oh, come on, Luca. We're wrapping up. We're almost done. I did want to touch on this though. Pretty cool. Hellblade reaches 50,000 sold in the first week.
That's great.
Which means that they donate 25,000 to mental health research and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
The reason why I think that's cool is because a lot of people thought that game wouldn't sell on Xbox, and the fact that it's been out on other platforms for so long and people still went out and supported it and stuff makes me. It's not my type of game. I think that it's great for people that like that game, but for me personally, it's not my thing. What about you guys? What do you think, Mooch? I know you beat that game again.
Yeah, the game is great, man. I like it. It is what it is. Like for the $30, it's well worth it. I really, it's an in-depth game. The thing that's unique about it is I like how they even tell you to experience this game the right way, you must wear a headset. And if you have the Dolby Atmos, it's insane. Like the thing that really engulfs you into this game is the narrative. It's the voices, it's psychosis. It's this demon she's fighting within her own mind. And that's the essence of the game. I understand, don't get me wrong, Crap has every right to say, the looking puzzles and I'll say this much. The negative that I have is the very repetitive action sequences are over and over and over. It's the same things over and over. And it's more of a timing thing than a combo thing. You can make it a combo thing, but if you don't dive out of the way, you're not going to make it. So, I mean, realistically, this is a game that you should experience. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are saying the best way to do it, close the lights, have your TV on, blast your headset, and like you will feel like you are Senua going through each of these different puzzles and mazes. And the end, a lot of people said the end had a lackluster ending. I heard that from a few folks, and I can't, again, that's their opinion, but I thought it actually had a pretty good ending. I actually liked it. I mean, you got to kind of read into it. It's one of the artsy things. But some people don't get that at face value. But if you stop and look into it, well, it is. It is an artsy take on it. But I mean, at the same time, at the end, you can make the ending the way it happened. There's like 3 different ways that I think some people can interpret it. None are wrong. I don't think any are wrong. Of course, they could actually come out, the director, and tell you this is what it is. And I think you'd even be close to home with that. But that essentially is a unique type of game. You buy a game for $30 these days, that's an indie. It's usually a pixelated, 2D scroller that's meh. This is pretty damn good, man.
But the ending on any game could make anyone feel like that.
Correct.
Like it could affect me more than it affected you, or some people could be like, I didn't like it. But is the overall experience in that game, I'm hearing nothing but positive things. So I'm looking forward to trying it and testing it out. Even if, the combat's a little wonky, or some people don't like the puzzles, people still say good things about it overall, though. The experience overall is positive.
Absolutely, Foxy.
Yep, I agree. And just to pay the bills, Steve Kick says, what studio purchases might you predict for E3? I stuck by the fact that I think that Microsoft should purchase Playground Games. They're an up-and-coming developer, and I think they do an absolute amazing job. What about you guys?
I still keep saying that Microsoft needs to buy Crytek. Just because their technology, their ability to pump out amazing graphics, would be definitely the way to go if you ask me.
Well, I guess if I'm going to chime in, I'll say BioWare, just because the word. I mean, I don't think that's obtainable at this point, but I mean, if you want to say like reach for the stars, they are in somewhat, I think, dire straits at this point with Anthem, and I think EA's kind of had it up to here with them. So I think that this may be a time Microsoft can scoop them up. I believe Casey Hudson. No, Casey Hudson's back with who did he go back with? Is he with them now? Yeah. So if he's back with them, it's a great acquisition. That's just a pie in the sky thing, folks. I don't think that's going to happen, but we can all hope.
I was actually going to go with something like that. I was going to say that, remember when we heard about the EA rumors and everything like that?
Right.
I was thinking maybe they could get some stuff from them, whether it be studios or IPs or anything like that. But I still know people to this day that want them just to buy out EA in general. Just take them. Because they have so many things under their belt.
Yeah. I would say either Sega or Crytek. Sega, because Sega has a library of games and IPs that they own that could do Microsoft a lot of good.
I wish. I don't know if they can, though.
I mean, Sega's kind of financially in trouble a little bit. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're staying afloat, but they're like way down the line as far as studios go and devs.
Yeah, but isn't that just a Japanese company? And I don't know if they could do that.
Well, I mean, Sega of America. See, Sega and Microsoft actually are very close. They have been.
They're pretty. They're pretty good on that.
The original Xbox.
I can see them being close partners and having a lot of stuff, just like exclusively or deals. But I don't know about just grabbing them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And hey, you know what? Look at that. We hit 2 hours. Man, what about you, Salty? Any studios you'd like to see them pick up?
I'm right there with you with Playground. I think that'd be perfect. They've shown what they can do, and I think they're up and coming. They need to lock them down before they leave, you know? So.
Yeah, agreed 100%. Mooch,
Yes.
What do you got going on? Since we're gonna go ahead and close it out here.
We'll do the quick. I'll make it quick and painless here for everybody. We got Crossfire Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Then I've got Coin Slot Saturdays on 2 o'clock on JKB's channel, and MNC mornings. It'll be a special MNC mornings. I believe it'll be on Crap's channel this week, 11 a.m. Eastern. So it'll be a full-fledged packed mooch weekend. Enjoy that.
Nice. Hellhammer, what do you got going on?
Not too much. I'll be back on here next week. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at XXHellhammer or on Xbox Live, XX Space Hellhammer.
All right. Noof Noogum! Boom, 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 boom.
That's my fuse going out. You keep beat me to it. Boom, boom, kaboom. Yes, it's Noof Nukem leaving the room. Yes, it's been another wonderful Wednesday. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by, checking out the podcast. Yes, sorry I've been late. Probably going to be late for the rest of it because it looks like I'm going to be working most Wednesdays now. By the time I get home, yeah, I feel it made minutes late getting in here. But it's always a good podcast, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and watching the show. It's been good stuff. And it's always a pleasure to hang out with all of you guys and having Salty on here as well. And Foxy, it's fantastic. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And Foxy, what do you got going on?
I just want to say you guys are awesome and hilarious, and I love always being on here with you guys. Hello to everybody, and goodbye. To the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. You guys could follow me on Twitter. I share Foxy deals on there and chat with everyone. And of course, I do YouTube videos on my channel, and that's where you guys can also see Gaming Den, which will be back on Friday. We took a break last Friday because we weren't feeling well. First me, but then She-Wolf as well. She was just like, no, we're not. Totally okay. So it didn't work out, but I did an unboxing video today. So hopefully you guys check that out. Let me know what you think. I've also been doing my opinion pieces where I talk about Call of Duty stuff or Sega stuff, and I do have some other ideas and topics and stuff that I want to share with you guys. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me. Awesome.
Oh, one last thing. Shout out, if you guys didn't at the top of the show, and you might have, but I wasn't here. I just do want to give a special shout out, guys, to Xbox Addict. I didn't know the guy, but man, the dude was definitely an Xbox ambassador and seemed like one of the coolest guys in the Xbox community. So shout out to Xbox Addict, who unfortunately passed away due to some illnesses and complications. So yes. Prayers and best wishes to his family, man. It sucks to lose somebody like that in the community. The guy had an amazing Xbox collection. Made me jealous. It was crazy, and he's going to be missed.
Absolutely. We talked about him for like the first 15, 20 minutes. Yep. So yeah, definitely going to be missed in a lot of ways, man. It was a good guy. So I want to appreciate everybody coming out here. Salty, thank you for joining us for the first time. What do you got going on, my friend?
Hey, thank you, Crap. It was amazing. I love talking games with you guys. Like I said before, you can find me on Twitter, Saltiest Gaming. The I is a 1, and then tomorrow, Saltiest Podcast, 8:30 Eastern. My channel, Saltiest Gaming, YouTube. Short and sweet.
Nice, Salty.
Got it. Awesome. Appreciate it. And I appreciate all you guys for checking us out. Hit that like button. Rest in peace, Matt, Xbox Addict. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Have a great day. Be good to one another. Game on.
Bye.